totally honest, open conversation. No holds barred. And I'm going to ask people who have not heard from first, if you don't mind. All right, I'll come back to you because I'm just going to give a bit of... And if you are thinking about a question and you're not brave enough and solid enough and confident enough to say it, then you've got pads in front of you, write it down, and Barbara, if you can perhaps whiz around and get some questions. Okay, go on, let's go from over here. What's in the box? Oh, the big black box. Cool, what's in the box? I don't know, I've never been in it. I've seen pictures. It's just a symbolic point of marking. Apparently, history tells us that it was the very first place when Adam was sent out of heaven. Similar story in the Bible about leaving the Garden of Paradise, Garden of Eden. He landed on the earth, and the first place where he actually founded a place of worship was the Mecca. It's interesting. We've got Mecca Bingo. Have you got Mecca Bingo here? Have you heard that phrase? Why do they call it that? Do you know? Well, Mecca is all about the point of gathering. Yeah? So that's the brand. They've nicked it! Nicked it from the Muslims! Okay, thank you. Good question. Yes, at the back.
How do you feel about the methods to tackle extremism when we sell arms to Iran and other places?
Ooh, political question.
It just doesn't seem right.
Can I blank on that one? It's a bit of a political question. I'm not a politician.
No, it's
I feel.
No, that's fine.
You asked me how I feel. I feel annoyed.
That's what I wanted to know.
Thank you. Next, Colin, I'll let you in now, mate.
What's the difference? Because I know there are different interpretations of Islam. So there's
Groups.
Yeah, there's Sunni and
Yeah.
What's the difference between?
Lord, just like you've got, yeah, right, okay. So big family of Islam at the top, and then trying to match it with Christianity, you've got Catholicism and Protestant Church of England, and you've got a whole lot of other churches, haven't you? We've got equally as diverse, different branches, but the two core branches are Sunni and Shia Islam, and that's essentially about leadership, which was about who was going to succeed after the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, who was going to succeed after the Prophet Muhammad, and there was a dispute there. So the Shias were saying, no, we should go with someone who had the blood lineage of the Prophet Muhammad, i.e. his cousin, and also happened to be his son-in-law, a gentleman called Ali, and the others were saying, no, we should go with who the Prophet appointed, and he appointed a gentleman called Abu Bakr, who, ironically, the chap who is leading ISIS is also called Abu Bakr, and kind of plays on that. But again, we counter it by saying, look what he stood for, look how he, taught and preached, and look what you're doing. This is being recorded, right? I'm just conscious because I think these are really important FAQs and FAQs in the future. Come forward if you need to. Yes, sir.
Does your religion believe in capital punishment?
Capital punishment? Okay. Yes. Right. So punishments in Islam, all of the punishment laws, hudud it's called, Hudod. All of them have, at the core of it, a principle of deterrence. However, there is another aspect of the punishment system which people forget about, which is evidence. Right? The extremer the punishment, the more harder the threshold of evidence is. So, the guy said it in there, in the video clip about chopping people's hands off, right? Amputation. That's an extreme form of punishment, yeah? But did you know, in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, and I think something like, well, in fact, all four of the immediate successors after the Prophet, a history of about 150 years, there was something like less than 3 or 4 amputations. Yeah? So the harsher the punishment, the harsher the evidence base for it. So the stuff around stoning, again, controversially, we've seen stuff happen in ISIS and in places like Sudan and stuff. We've seen these stonings of rapists and that kind of stuff, or people who've committed adultery. That stuff exists in the text, yes? But there's also another aspect to that, and I think I'll put it on there, earlier when we talked about ISIS, that they are just basically willy-nilly, they are implementing these punishment laws, but they're not implementing the evidence side of things. So they're not implementing the holistic picture of the social justice system and the criminal justice system, should I say, that Islam has. Answer your question? Good stuff. Yes, sir.
The guy in the video said that he was born a Muslim. Do you think if you were raised in a Christian household that you'd have been a Christian?
Of course.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. In fact, the Prophet said that. He said, you are all born on an equal footing. He said, you're born in a state of nature. Right? Everyone's born al-din al-fitra. You're all born on a natural state. It's then your parents who make you whatever you are. He said that clearly. Good stuff. This table here, I'm not picking on you, but I know there was some discussion going on, but can we have a question? What are you playing? I could give you an Old Testament answer to that, because it is actually mentioned in the Old Testament, the blood of the flesh of swine. So some of our legal rulings, in fact, actually, swine, alcohol, is actually taken from some of the Old Testament rulings, from the Abrahamic laws. So it's exactly the same. So it's ruling in ancient scripture, and so we adhere to that. I've never had a bacon putty. I'm missing that one. No. Yeah. Interesting. I remember as a school child, bacon flavoured stuff, beef flavoured stuff. Somebody said it's only a flavouring. It's not the real stuff. It's just E numbers. All right, which will not help you anyway. But yeah, just that association. If it's forbidden, it's forbidden. Ladies, any questions? Sure? Oh, you're going to write one for me, yeah? Okay, cool. You got one? Sure? Cool. Yes, sir?
Why do you disprove homosexuality?
You're making a presumption there.
Oh.
You want to ask a question?
Okay.
Why did
religious backing to
Okay, good. I said no hold barred, so thank you very much for being confident enough to ask difficult questions. So homosexuality in Islam, again, I'm going to answer it just as I did with the bacon butty question, which is that there is scripture, previous scriptures, well, the previous religions that we adhere to. We consider homosexuality to be a sin, but our outlook, remember I said to you before that strapline at the bottom about Ihsan, respecting God's creation, respecting God through God's creation. So we respect all of God's creation, regardless of what choice they may make about their sexuality, regardless of what they make choices about their criminality, we respect that. So, and I think this is actually, Barbara, correct me if I think you think I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is actually a phrase from Jesus Christ as well, which is that we hate the sin and not the sinner. Yeah? That answers your question? Yes, madam.
You believe in like everything that it says in Islam. Is there anything that you think I don't believe in that or I don't believe in that?
Really good question. So yes, there's a piece of scripture that says when you enter into the fold of Islam, you enter holistically, which means that there's that complete immersion into it. I think the second part of your question is really interesting because you're saying, I don't agree with that. This is where your understanding of things, your knowledge of things comes in. So if we're taught, and I'm taught that, and I teach this same principle, that actually there is nothing in the laws of Sharia that are contrary to human instinct and human nature and that are not beneficial for society. We believe that as one of the principles. And if you come across a ruling in Islam or in the Sharia that you think, hang on a sec, that doesn't quite fit, then there's something wrong with your understanding of that. So I always encourage people to delve in deeper, and this is why questioning is a really essential part of faith. Critical thinking is a really essential part of the Quran. Numerous verses has these phrases like, sorry about the Arabic, أَفَلَا تَدَبَّرُونَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ, do you not think? Do you not ponder? Do you not question? So there's lots of that probing to actually be critically evaluative of situations. The Quran itself asks me to do that. And so when I come to a blocker and I think, that doesn't quite fit with me, I don't quite agree with that, I'm then forced to think, reevaluate, to question, to delve deeper, to really get my head around that issue. Does that answer the question? Good. Yes, right, sir.
So this may be my narrow, poor understanding of it, but so to an extent, Sharia law is saying that it's unfallible and that you are flawed and you need to correct yourself and fit to the like that belief system.
Yeah, that phrase is, yeah, okay. So the Sharia law is a system of rulings that are given from God, the Creator, and we believe that God, the Creator, knows what is best and better for the creation than the creation, right? So in that sense, that's what the phrase that you use about being infallible. Yes, and we are, as human beings, are fallible, aren't we? So there is an understanding that. And to go back to the question that I answered here, that if it doesn't sit well enough for you, with you, then you have to probe more. And use your intellect to do that. And use your reasoning and your questioning to do that. Go on, what are you struggling with?
No, it's kind of strange because it seems, my understanding of it is that it's simultaneously kind of saying, like don't question but also question, like with the whole like the problem isn't with the law, it's with you, so I like that strange kind of parallel symmetry to an extent, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Also, my apologies for phrasing my first question.
No, not at all. Don't apologise for questions. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted it just to come out. Do you have one there, guys? Yeah? You got a question? Gentlemen, sorry, we'll put your hand up. You have one?
Has anyone been born with religion and decided to change?
Yes. Yeah. I there's a clip. That's the Association of Ex-Muslims, and I took time out to watch and to listen to really kind of understand, because I thought, okay, I want to know why. And the one clip I watched in particular is a young lady. And this is what I was saying about the importance of delving down and critically analysing things for yourself. Her trajectory, her story, actually, of rejecting the faith came about because of her poor experience from at home. There was some abuse going on, forced marriage situation, which is absolutely nothing to do with the faith. Right? The faith, I told you I'm an imam. When I do my marriages, when I officiate over weddings, I have to make sure that I have the consent of the bride. And I always crack this joke at the start of the ceremony, because I go speak to the bride first. I interview her beforehand, before doing the ceremony, and I say, just make sure there's absolute consent here. But when I come into the main hall where everybody else is waiting, we do the main sermon in there. I start off and I look at the groom and I said, there's a lesson in this for you, young man, which is that if the lady, she says no, it ain't happening. Right? And they take that obviously very, very seriously. But on a serious note, I say that the consent of the bride is absolutely essential. So forced marriage is totally. So that, go back to your question, a lot of the, I say a couple of ones I've met and not met, heard about and heard from their clips on YouTube and whatnot. There's sometimes there's poor experiences, bad issues, whatever, and often then the faith, from my perspective, gets a battering and gets a raw deal, in my opinion. Gosh, are we good for time?
Right, we
need to wrap up. Got one more?
Just one more question and then.
Go. So we need to wrap. Go.
So kind of just linking on the end of that quickly, the whole kind of ex-Muslims is how does your religion and community kind of view and respond to that? Like, how do you feel about that?
Good, really good question. And I've done a lecture on this in the community, because the response is just like with other kind of challenges, sometimes not very well thought out, and sometimes it can be just condemnation and shunning and, hey, we don't want anything to do with these guys. I used to work in a prison with prisoners, and they often used to say that when we go back into the prison society.
Just a quick cut-in. So, is the kind of condemnation reduced when it's realised that the kind of X nature of the person is due to an experience and not to do with faith?
That's what I was coming to. That basically there is that immediate shun and kind of, this is not good. But what I've tried to encourage people to say is look and understand and try to appreciate what's happened here. And again, nice end to the day, me and you, conversation. That is absolutely critical, even in that situation as well. Guys, you finally opened up just as it was time for me to wrap up and go. So I want to finish with a huge round of applause for all of you. A huge round of applause for the staff for making this happen. And last but not least, of course, a huge round of applause for me for coming to this wonderful part of the world. I wish that I had more time. I wish we can come hopefully at some other point. But finally, honestly, seriously, the questions are absolutely brilliant. I hope I was getting a bit hot and cold under some of them, but I think I did all right. I hope I've satisfied your thirst. If I haven't, I thought I'd put my email on the last one. Did I? I'm happy for you to take. No, I haven't. On the other one, I'm happy for you to take my email and give me an email. So if you just take that website down, you can post questions through that. If you just put info@, it'll come to me. All right. Thank you so much once again, guys.
Thank you.
All the best.